Welcome back, viewers. You are still tuned into Prime Live, and we're about to delve into a cold plunge next. And we're so excited to welcome to studio Travis Mitchell from Johannesburg Ice Baths. Now, you're either very intrigued by an ice bath, maybe even nervous, or maybe even excited about something like this. But I'm sure in any social media platforms, you would have seen some of the remarkable health benefits of ice baths, not just for your mind, but for your physical health as well. And today we'll be delving in on a conversation to discuss more of the amazing health benefits that do exist. And more importantly, someone very special in the studio will be taking the plunge. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Prime Live.
Salam alaikum to you and your viewers. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for joining us and bringing us one of your wonderful setups. I mean, we are so excited to dive in.
I hope it's going to be fun for the person that's diving in. For us at Johannesburg Ice Bath, it is the greatest thing that we can do for people.
Look, I mean, we've all seen the videos on social media and talking about the different health aspects and the different health benefits. But talk us through the main health benefits of an ice bath, not just for the physical self, but for the mental health and well-being as well.
So the way that I explain the ice bath is it's a fundamental threat to your body. So when you get into the ice, your brain picks up that it's cold. Not just a little bit cold, but a lot cold. And it's going to send that message to your body to say, we are going to die of hypothermia. Now let me explain this to your viewers. Nobody dies of hypothermia, okay? You're not in there for long enough. But your brain doesn't know that. So we call that a fundamental threat. It's a threat on life. So as you go in that, you're going to engage your hormones of stress. Adrenaline, noradrenaline, those kind of things. The beauty of this is you do not engage cortisol, which most people who live a stressful life, they're engaging in cortisol on a day-to-day basis. If, and I say if you're able to work through that initial shock, you start to engage something called dopamine. Now, most of us try to get dopamine from that cup of coffee, that sugar donut, and those kind of things. When you get to that point and you're able to breathe through that initial shock, that's the key of ice bathing. It's your breath work that you do. It's actually not the ice. It's the breath that does it. When you get that breathing to happen, you suddenly get this beautiful rise in dopamine, not anything you've ever experienced in your life. Number one, it's not a spike. Number two, it is sustainable. And that happens even after you get out of the ice. And so that's why people enjoy it. I'll tell you honestly, every time I get into the ice, I don't enjoy getting in, but I enjoy the benefits I get afterwards.
Wow, that's fascinating to learn and understand. And, you know, we know that cortisol is, of course, the unhappy hormone, the hormone we don't want an excessive amount of in our bodies. And, you know, listening in on, you know, the crazy lifestyles we all have, the fast-paced lifestyles that are filled with stress and anxiety, I can understand why a lot of people look to ice baths for stress management and control and taking back some of that control and getting that dopamine in. And, you know, it's very fascinating to have learned about, you know, how to overcome that initial shock and that you actually reap the benefits thereafter. But for anyone who's listening in and who is very intrigued by this conversation and wanting to try an ice bath, like you said, you're not in there long enough to get that hypothermia or that hypothermic shock. But how long should someone be in the ice bath for, particularly if they're just starting out? And when it comes to the breath work, how do we even get started on that?
So I'm going to say to you, if you're intrigued in doing ice baths, rather contact a place like Johannesburg Ice Bath that helps people to walk through it. So we spend time on a regular basis taking groups, learning the mechanism, learning the technique, learning how to breathe, learning how to work with your mindset. So it's not something that's going to be problematic. Is this potentially harmful? The answer is yes. Anything we do in this world can be potentially harmful. So what we've tried to create is a system and a mechanism that makes it more easy and efficient and effortless for people to do it. The ultimate answer is within a minute and a half, roughly, give or take. If the person is breathing correctly, you start to get that rise of dopamine. Once you get that rise of dopamine, anything you do after that has no significance. There's not a lot of research about ice baths, and I'll tell you that honestly, but the research that's been done shows that 15 minutes throughout the week, accumulative, is where you get your value. So you have a lot of people that show off and they sit in the bath for like 40 minutes and those kind of things. There's no major benefit for it. It's getting that dopamine rise, learning how to breathe through the stress, enjoying the benefits. And if you do that regularly, it helps you with your stress processing, particularly in a place like Johannesburg. As we know, Joburg, Gauteng, gangsters paradise, this is the place where stress happens. It's where we make the money, it's where the busyness happens, but it's also where the stress is. And the most problem which we see with people is not just the busyness of their professional life, it's then the family life and so forth that happens. And this is so simple. Within a minute and a half, you start to change the stress in your body. Because what happens is once that dopamine kicks up, anything that is stressful in your body that doesn't have a place is released from the body.
Absolutely.
And when that happens, people just go into such beautiful emotional states.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, just living in South Africa, we think about how many environmental stresses there are in our day-to-day lives. And there are so many people that are looking for alternative means to relieve stress. And this sounds incredibly intriguing. I think, in my experience as a swimmer, the closest thing I can kind of attribute this to is the polar plunge that takes place for the Special Olympics. And, I'm reminded of you saying that initial jump in is like a shock to the system.
Correct.
But once you've swam the entire length of the lap, you actually feel very refreshed afterwards. So I can kind of imagine that this is a similar kind of experience. But what I also want to ask about is, of course, that mental health benefits that I'm going to call it an ice plunge that will happen when it comes to improving your mood, reducing that cortisol. What are some of your personal experiences with improvements in mental health?
So a lot of people, when they get into the ice, they have that initial shock. They learn to breathe through it. They feel like they can calm themselves down in the ice. And then I talk them through that. And while I'm talking them through that, I'm showing them that the pain that they feel from the ice is pretty much the same that we experience from the stresses that literally overwhelm us on a day-to-day basis. One of the important parts is when you get into the ice at first, you have that cold embrace. And most people get that, I need to get out. I can't do this. And we have that same similar statement on a day-to-day basis, especially if you're overwhelmed with life and all the challenges. Yeah. I just can't do this anymore. I've just got to give up. And I walk them through, I calm them down, I talk them through it. And we get them to a point where that dopamine is now getting them to start feeling comfortable and calm with themselves. And I say, you see, it's not getting any colder. That gives you that sense of resilience that the next time you're facing a challenge, you're still going to feel it. You're still going to feel it. But you learn how to work with yourself internally to be able to override that. And you can change your own chemistry. That's the most powerful thing that the man upstairs has taught us, is you can work with your own chemistry. And this shows you how to do that. We also advocate cold showers, much the same. You're talking about the polar plunge. We do a plunge on the 21st of June, winter solstice at sunrise. Brilliant. But the research has shown that even if you're plunging in 15 degrees or less water temperature, you're still getting similar of the benefits. When we do this, we try to get it down to about 2 degrees, so it's nice and crispy, because then you get the massive shock. But once a person learns that they can, through their own means, to control themselves,
yes,
they can then take that into day-to-day life.
I think that's so powerful in what you shared in terms of the mental health aspect. I mean, you're putting yourself in a really difficult situation where every fiber of your being is telling you not to do it, and more importantly, your mind is telling you that you can't do it. And yet, by the end of however many minutes you're sitting in that water, by the end of it, you have accomplished something.
Correct.
And I think it teaches yourself so much of self-trust that you can accomplish and overcome anything. And that's that aspect of resilience that you spoke about. I mean, I'm not sure about 2 degrees. I think the coldest I've ever felt is 12. But I cannot even imagine 2 degrees. But more importantly, we're getting a lot of questions from our audience in terms of how do we get in touch with you, how do we keep up with you, and how do we contact you about possibly trying an ice bath?
So we're on TikTok, Johannesburg Ice Bath. Otherwise, can I give the number out?
Yes,
071 752 7787. We schedule an experience about once a month, and that's us taking people through as a group. And then every Saturday, if you are brave enough, you've learned the skills, you're capable enough, we're actually we give people the opportunity to use the bucket on their own accord. So we literally have a cold bucket every Saturday. And then our next plunge experience is on the Saturday of Easter, which is next weekend. And we're doing it on the Saturday. So if there's any of your listeners that are very intrigued, contact us soon. We literally keep the groups very small. I have seen on certain TikTok videos that they have these massive, large groups. We keep it as intimate as we can so that I am there with you, walking you through it. I'll tell you a quick story. A young lady, she got out, no major shakes. She did fair. She contacted me a week later. One of the biggest emotional traumas she had 30 years ago. She thought she had suppressed it, nothing there. Came to the surface.
Wow.
She said, scary that it came to the surface, but she'd learned some skills in the ice bucket. And she was able to process something that was 30 years old. And she was relieved and gained such insight into herself because she had learned how to breathe in the bucket.
Wow.
Simple, but effective.
Always amazing to learn and listen in on these kinds of conversations that talk about the fundamental parts of health and wellness, and that is breath, and how important breath work is, and learning how to control your breath is one of the biggest things you can do for yourself. And I can imagine that this would be brilliant for someone struggling with things like anxiety and depression, because overwhelming anxiety attacks, you feel very out of control and you lose your sense of breath. So I can understand these learning these kind of breathing techniques, and these techniques to be able to control your mind is so important and can be so valuable in terms of taking you forward. But I think, it's fair enough for us to not keep chatting about the benefits and chatting about, how wonderful the ice bath is in terms of preparing you mentally and physically for your health and wellness. But we were doing some rock, paper, scissors on who it was going to be in the studio who had an opportunity to dive into the ice bath today. And we were talking about TikTok, and we're trying to create a viral moment here.
Nice.
When it comes to, promoting health and wellness
I'm
and
excited.
promoting the benefits of an ice bath. So we are so privileged to have a young Un who is joining us to try out the ice bath.
Thank you. Mr. Young Un, are you ready for this, boss?
I don't know if I'm ready.
It's going to be exciting. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Exciting?
Yeah?
Okay.
So what we have to do is we have to set an intention. It's your reason for getting in. It's not our reason. As much as you lost the bet, it's not our reason. It's your reason.
Okay.
Yeah? So get in your mind's eye for a moment. Why do you want to get into this ice?
I feel like it's awesome what you said, like to be able to handle stressful situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's make sure that you keep that in your mind as we get in. What I want you to do is I want you to take a deep breath in, breathe it out, and let it go. That's all you got to do.
Once
Yeah.
I'm in.
Once you're in. That's all you got to do.
Okay.
Most people, when they get in, they hold their breath. Don't hold your breath. I'm going to hold your hand if you don't mind. When you're ready, you're going to step in. And as you step in, I want you to sit down as best as you can.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. Take a deep breath in. And step in, step in, step in, step in, step in, step in, and sit down, sit down, sit down. Yes, young Un. Yes, young Un. Don't forget to breathe, boss. Don't forget to breathe. Remember, as I said, it's all about breathing out. You can do this. I promise you can do this. I don't know if your listeners or your viewers watched that. He got himself to calm down. Breathe out. Relax your body. Focus on me. Talk to me. Breathe out and release. There we go. You've got it now. Now what happens is your body starts to engage the chemistry that you need. What I want you to do is I want you to bring your hands in. Good. And let's try and get your hands into the water. Beautiful, boss. That is amazing. Now, you're going to feel that it's cold. You're going to feel that it's biting you. But you can do it. That's the key. You can control it by your breath. You hold your breath, it gets worse. You concentrate on the gentleness of the breath out, and it gets easier. Do you want to try and put your face in, boss? Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Get your face down. Nice. Nice. Nice, boss. I'm telling you, you're going to have cold showers from now onwards, and it's going to be brilliant. Well done. Talk us through it. Tell us what you're feeling.
I feel like it definitely stops biting after a while.
Yeah.
But it's intense.
It is.
I can just, like, that shock is like...
Yes. And that biting is what it's supposed to be. but that you can control it is what we're after.
You know what's so fascinating watching from the outside, and maybe you don't realize it because you're in the water, but how quickly you were able to just calm.
Yeah.
That was very quick.
But that's because we walk our people through
Yeah.
that.
He's really good.
He
actually
is.
really
I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see that.
We
You were
make sure that
immediately-
we get them to get it.
It just took you a few seconds, and you were already.
Because
you
if
were-
I
you were zen.
don't get you to get this, I don't get you to get the benefit.
Yes.
And if you don't get that benefit, you won't be able to use it afterwards.
Talk us through your very first ice bath experience.
Oh, that's
Get
exciting.
out before you
Yes, please do.
1, 2, 3, standing
Please
up. Good. I don't know if you got a towel.
Yeah, I think there is a thumbs up.
Fantastic.
Wow, well done. What an amazing.
Normally
amazing
we get people
thing.
to give him a round of applause.
Oh, well, I will for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Well done, young Ern. I am so
Absolutely.
impressed, boss. I
Thank
am
you so
so
much, my
impressed,
brother.
man. Let me help you out, okay? Take it slowly. Thank you. Good job.
That is breathing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So,
Wow, I mean, what an accomplishment. I mean,
brilliant for his first
I
time.
mean, wow, brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so impressed. I mean, hearing you talk about it and actually seeing it in reality is such a different thing. The way you were able to talk him through the process and how quickly he was able to get into that, you know, that calm, that zen that you
And you
were
saw it.
talking about.
You
It
saw it.
happened so quickly.
The beauty for me is when I see that person's face and I can see that anguish, I can see
The
that
discomfort,
emotion
yeah.
and that discomfort, and I don't know what's going through their head because it's always going to bring back memories.
Yes.
And then they walk it through. Beautiful. So
What an accomplishment.
my first ice bath, my wife knows that I'm crazy. So it was one of my birthdays a few years ago, and you know, I don't know what you and your husband do for your birthday, but my wife took me for an ice bath for my birthday. And it was 3 degrees, my first ice bath. But I'd learned breathing 30 years ago. I had asthma as a child, and I had a gentleman who taught me how to breathe through asthma. And so I wanted to say something for your listeners is, if you breathe correctly, you cannot have a panic attack.
Wow.
So this gentleman taught me how to breathe, and I've used my breathing through many aspects of my life. And so I got into 3 degrees. And yeah, it challenged my breathing, I will tell you. But I spent 6 minutes the first time, which for a lot of people is pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
And then when I got out, I could not get out. They actually had to drag me out. My whole body had literally just, you know, neurochemically shut down. And I lay on the floor laughing my head off. And my wife was like, "But you can't even move." And I'm like, "But it's amazing, it's amazing." And then it took about 2 hours for me to warm up. But the neurochemical high that I had there afterwards was just brilliant. And straight away I said to my wife, "Let's do this. Let's make this part of our offerings that we offer to people and teach people how to use this."
I love that. Travis, thank you for sharing that
Thank you.
story with us. And more importantly, thank you for this insightful conversation. I mean, this was wonderful. I think we've never had something
Now
like
it's your
this
turn.
on Prime Live today. And, you know, I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to sit down with you today, to have this conversation. Of course, getting to witness something as incredible as this. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your journey and experience with us today.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Viewers at home, that was Travis. I do hope you enjoyed today's insightful and exciting and icy conversation. I think it is an amazing opportunity for us to learn the power of breath, to take control of our minds and our bodies, and immerse yourself in an uncomfortable experience for a few seconds to accomplish so much more thereafter. But do reach out to them on their social media platforms if you would like to participate in the ice bath, or if you would like to participate this coming Saturday. Next Saturday, if you would like to participate and you are intrigued by the health benefits of the ice bath, please do make sure you reach out to them on the cell phone number that was provided to be able to participate. And thank you so much to Young Un for being such a sport and trying the amazing ice bath. And also, I'm so impressed by how he was able to manage and how quickly he was able to calm himself down and be immersed in the moment.